Thank you all for being here in our first ESA Thursday monthly meetings of 2021. And today we will chat about ESA and ways to be more involved with the society. Sorry. Okay, so I think that every time someone talks about being involved in leadership and volunteerism, we ask ourselves, why is this important? Or why should I do it? And should I do it? There's a lot of reasons why being a leader and volunteer is important for our society. One of them is that we want to ensure that ESA and entomology as a discipline is strong for the future. So during our meetings, branch, national meetings, we always want to discuss ways to improve the methods of which we do research, we build partnerships, we engage with professors, students, and other established professionals. And we also want to make sure that we keep our discipline updated on the world's newest technologies, and that we can always move forward and be prepared for the future as a discipline and as a society. We also want to influence ESA programs and meetings. Sometimes we don't know how much we can do to the society and how much we can be involved. So pay attention to our next week's webinar. I think you're going to learn a lot about how to submit a symposium, and that'll be a really good one. So I don't need to be in a committee to submit this for symposium, for example, or lunch and learns, and all the other opportunities we have at ESA. And we want to make sure our interests are being represented during the meeting. We also want to ensure that ESA leadership matches the membership diversity. Representation matters. I always like to say that because we want to see people from all backgrounds speaking, sharing their ideas. And we all know that we're always going to grow when everyone has a chance to speak and to work for things to get better. And another thing that you can also better understand how ESA as a society works. So to talk about how to get involved and to share the experiences, I have 5 guests today. So it's me, Patricia Pradi. I am the chair of the Students Affairs Committee. Wyatt Hoback, the chair of the Education and Outreach Committee. Peter Jensen, the chair of the Awards and Honors Committee. Cesar Rodrigo Sauna, chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And also Melissa Siebert, the member of the Leadership Development Committee. Thank you all the panelists for accepting to be here with us today, and I'm really excited to see what everyone has to talk. And as soon as you all have questions, please write them down in the question section. We'll be happy to answer all of them. So now each one of our guests will talk about their professional and leadership and volunteerism with the society. So I will start. Yay! So I'm naturally from Brazil. I did my undergrad and my master's in forestry engineering at the Regional University of Blumenau. And I recently graduated with my PhD in entomology from the University of Florida. And I think that I was thinking when I was preparing myself to talk today is that since I can remember things, I remember trying to be a volunteer and working to try to make things better and also to be involved. I volunteered at church when I was a teenager. I was a class president in high school. I was the president of the Forest Club during my undergrad. Once I moved to the US, I moved to a research center to do my research at UF. I was the student liaison for new students. I want to make sure everyone was represented, everyone could talk. And also a lot of people don't know exactly what's going on in our area, so that I always help them. I also co-founded and was president of the Treasure Coast Graduate Student Organization. I created this organization because as the number of students we had was growing, I wanted to make sure that people could get together because we all know a lot of times there's a lot of labs in a research facility or the university, but no one know each other. I just wanted to unite these students. And then I represented the UF at the Southeastern branch, and then I represent now I represent the Southeastern branch at the Students Affairs Committee. And then for some weird reason that I don't know why, I volunteered to be the co-chair in my first year, which was last year. And then this year I'm the chair. I think that helping the society in other ways I could always be involved, it was in my local society or the entomological society, makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me happy. And I always like to be busy, and I like to be doing things, and I'll help out every time that I can. And but I also want to have fun. So I love to cook. I just started doing some woodworking, and I like to play tennis with my husband. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to talk a little bit more once we have our panelists have talked about themselves. So we're going to have a quick poll question right now. So what is the professional status? Just so we know more or less who is here today with us. I'm going to give you about a minute to answer, please. If you can do it. Did everyone answer? I think we're good. Well, so most of the people here with us today, oh, there's two. The biggest group are people with less than 5 years of experience as entomologists, and then the same level is people with more than 15 years of experience as an entomologist. We didn't have any undergrad here right now. We have some hobbyist entomology. They're my favorite people. And also you have a small number of people between 5 and 15 years experience in entomologists. Thank you all for being here today. Okay. So I would like to introduce Dr. Wyatt Hoback. Can you please talk a little bit about yourself and your career in volunteerism at ESA?
Hi, everyone. So it's great to see you here, and thanks for organizing the First Thursday conversation. I took an unusual path to become a now associate professor at Oklahoma State University. Before I arrived here, I was an undergrad in Virginia, a master's in Missouri, PhD in Lincoln, Nebraska. And during my PhD program in the first year, I attended a North Central Branch ESA meeting, fell in love with the group, the society. When I graduated, I got a job in a biology department as the only entomologist. And I stayed 15 years at the University of Nebraska in Kearney. I took students to the branch meetings and sometimes the national meeting. I served as the Linnaean game master for the North Central branch. Linnaean games is something I played as a student, and now I coach the OSU entomological trivia games. Why I joined ESA was really because I love teaching entomology. I love teaching about insects and their interactions with the environment and how they have adaptations to survive. And I shared that information with a lot of students, undergrads that are non-majors and grad students. Now I serve as the president of the Southwest branch. I've been through secretary-elect, secretary, vice president, president, and this year I'll become past president. And in these interactions, I've gotten to be influenced by extension agents, by faculty, by researchers, by graduate students. It's been wonderful. I also serve as the chair of the Education and Outreach Committee. And this committee is a little different than the other sections. Its focus is on education and making educational opportunities available for all. So I love the fact that ESA has different sections, different abilities to volunteer, become involved, and make the society what you want. And thanks for all being here today.
Okay, so Wyatt, I have a quick question for you. Can you talk a little bit more about ESA national committees or branch committees, how they work a little bit, how they're involved?
Sure. So different committees are structured in different ways. The EOC, the Education and Outreach Committee, is a national committee, and we have meetings at the national ESA every year, and then we have quarterly meetings right now virtually where we do a couple of different things. One thing the EOC is in charge of is distributing the chrysalis funds. So the chrysalis funds are grant opportunities targeting educational activities, and the EOC committee sends out a request for proposals and then sorts through those proposals and assigns funding. Second thing we do is host a symposium at the national meeting where we bring in faculty and students to talk about education. And as part of that, we also do the STEM bugs. So at the national level, we come together as a society. There's membership from all branches, and we share ideas at a national scale. Branch level, the Southwest branch is the smallest with 3 states represented. The North Central branch, where I was before, is the largest. And at these branch meetings, it's a good opportunity to really get to know people in entomology from other states, see the challenges, talk about opportunities, and just to be involved. So at the branch level, elections are smaller scale than the national level, but for both the EOC and the branch committee membership, the society has set it up so that you're not thrown into the fire. When you become a secretary-elect, you learn from the person who is the secretary. When you're secretary, you learn from the person who's vice president. And it means that your service is actually a multiple-year commitment, but it also means that you're not floundering in the dark trying to figure out how the committees work. And so it's been a really great opportunity to get to know others and to introduce ideas, go through procedures, work with the ESA staff and leadership, and also work with the constituents, the members of ESA, to advance things that they want to do in the society.
Thank you so much, Wyatt. I will talk to you a little bit later. So now I would like to introduce Peter Jensen. Peter, can you talk a little bit about your background and leadership positions that you had?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. Great to be here. I appreciate being asked to join and to have this chance to talk to ESA members. So my background in terms of leadership and volunteerism with ESA is really driven by a desire to try new things and to understand how things work. It applies in all aspects of my life. And I really was interested in how the ESA works, and so I just put my hand up, and I keep putting my hand up. And so really being I would say the best experience I've had so far, and where I've learned the most, was really in the governing council of the PBT section. So working through the president-elect, then president, vice president. I'm getting the order all mixed up, but really it's a 4-year rotation where you get elected in and then learn and then finally make it to past president. That was a great experience. I met so many people. I learned so much about how the society works, how the section works, and best of all, I feel like I had some impact there. The engagement in our section hit a low point a few years ago, to where when we were holding elections and wanted to find a vice president elect, I was the only one that volunteered. And I really worked with the governing council to try to make things more transparent and bring more people in to understand that we wanted people and that there were great things going on. And I'm actually really excited to say that when I ran recently to be the governing board representative, I wasn't successful because there were, I think, 4 other candidates, which is and we've got tons of candidates now for our vice president elect positions. it's really, really rewarding to see the increase in engagement in this section. And I like to think that I had a small part of that, along with the other members of the governing council. It's really, really amazing to see. And so that's in terms of my leadership and volunteerism. In terms of my career, I've been with Bayer now just over 10 years. It's really the same story, moving up through different positions to try to learn how things work at higher levels of the company, and to have an influence and learn more technically, but really learn more about what makes the organization work.
Thank you, Peter. I agree with you in a lot of these points. I always like to see things getting better. So I have a quick question for you. I know you like to go on bike rides. How do you balance work, personal, and your ESA volunteer activities?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So I think prioritizing, but when we think about prioritizing, it's really always thinking about why. Let me think two things. Why are you doing it? I think always thinking about why are you doing it, right? And I know that I want to know how things work, but I can also be selective about what I want to understand how it works, right? I'm currently chairing the Awards and Honors Committee, and it's not something that I understand very well yet, but I will as I work through it. And then, you know, it's something else that I'll be able to really watch and participate in. So that there's the why am I doing it, and then there's really the concept that any journey, no matter how long or how big, just starts with one step, right? You just have to say yes and go in that direction, and that applies to all of those elements. Yes, I have a addiction to long bike rides, but you know, it started with short bike rides. It started with one bike, and it's now a lot more than that. But it's, you know, the one step in any of this is going from a decision to a habit, and being involved with the ESA. My work and my bike rides are all now habits, and they're all positive things that are habits in my life. So I made decisions to go in that direction, and then I've made them a habit and a part of my routine.
Thank you for your answer. I do know a lot of people that like to bike. Maybe we have to do something for the meeting. You get together and go biking somewhere.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Right. So our next guest is Dr. Cesar Rodriguez Sauna. Please, Dr. Cesar, can you please talk about your experiences and all your volunteerism and leadership at ESA?
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. Good afternoon to everyone. I joined the ESA about 30 years ago, so a long time already. And I remember the first role that I had at the society, for the society, was as a member of the registration committee for the Pacific branch. That was when I was first or second year into my PhD in 1995. So since then, I have served on several other committees and other roles. Just to mention a few, the one that I'm currently serving, I'm the chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I'm also a member of the editorial board for the Journal of Economic Entomology, and serve as a member of the board as a subject editor for the Journal of Economic Entomology and also the Journal of Insect Science. In 2016 and 2017, I served as a president for the ESA Eastern Branch. Last year, I served as the chair of the Awards and Honors Committee that now Peter is serving as chair now. Also, I was a member of the Canvassing for Awards and Honors Committee. Just to give a little bit of a background, my professional background, I'm from Peru, so I got my bachelor's in biology from the Universidad Nacional Agraria in Lima, Peru. And soon after I graduated, I came to the U.S. in 1992. So that's, as I mentioned, that's when I joined the ESA to do a master's at Oregon State University. After that, I moved to the University of California in Riverside to do my PhD with John Trumbull in 94, 99. And after that, I did several postdocs. I did a postdoc in Arizona. Then I moved to Toronto. That's where I met my wife. Then I came back to the U.S. And did another postdoc at Michigan State University. And that's when I interviewed and I was offered the position that I currently have at Rutgers University as a professor and extension specialist. Well, I started as an assistant professor, but now I'm a professor, a full professor. So I started in 2005 here at Rutgers. And my area of research is on insect-fly interactions, tritrophic interactions, applied chemical ecology, pest management. I work with small fruit crops, blueberries and cranberries. And one of the things that I wanted to share is why do I think it's important to join ESA? Why to me was important to be a member. And I feel like it's an excellent way to network, to meet people. I met a lot of friends that last year I missed not going to the annual meeting because that's when I get to see colleagues and friends. It's a good feeling when you serve to your society. Not just it looks good on your CV, but also I think it's good like to feel like you're making a difference to your society. I didn't feel like throughout my career that I was going to be a leader in my field. When you're a grad student, you don't think yourself as becoming a leader, but I think you have to get that idea in your head. I think early on that you will be a leader at some point in your career, and you're going to be mentoring other people. And I think being a part of the ESA gives you is a good example for your students, for your postdocs, on how you become a leader in your society. Also, I think it's important to bring awareness of what's important to me and also to my culture. I feel like now being part of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, I feel like it's good for our society to be diverse, and I want to see more people that have my accent or different accents, and have a darker skin like me, and look at like me. So yeah, and my personal interest. I think I share with you, Patricia, your interest with tennis. I love tennis. I play tennis for most of my life. I love traveling now. It's a problem due to COVID. I missed not going to the International Congress of Entomology. I was planning to do that. Hopefully next year it will happen. going to ESA. I really enjoy visiting different places and watching movies. That's one thing that I have been able to do with COVID. So.
Thank you, Cesar. Yeah, I agree. We have all the entomology friends, and we go to the meetings and meet everyone, and a lot of collaborations come from there. And I've been member to ASA. It's been 5 years now, and I already see the fruits of that interaction. So I really miss that as well. So Cesar, can you tell us about submitting your name to serve on open committees? Can you talk a little bit about that? And can you submit yourself for consideration to be appointed to other committees?
So yeah, there's different ways to and I encourage everyone to look for participating in different committees. I think it's a great, ESA provides a great opportunity for, as I said, for you to be a leader and to participate in these committees. And there's several committees that you can participate depending on how much time you have, how much available, how much time you want to dedicate to these committees. And they are targeted to different things, so you can select which one fits better your own interest. So there's different ways, like you can nominate yourself to be on these committees. You can some ways to do that would be to maybe approach the chair of that committee. That's something that is available in the website, in the ESA website. You can contact the chair and see, for example, the diversity and inclusion is open to anyone that wants to attend our meetings. So you can be a part of these committees. I started being part of one of these committees because my major professor was the president of the branch, and he asked me to be in the registration committee. So that's how I started. And then when I moved to the Eastern branch, I started being part of the program committee. So one thing that is important is for you to be visible. Like you can attend the business meetings at at your branch meetings, and also meet the board members of the branch. So you can talk to them how you can be involved in these committees. But yeah, there's different ways. Like approach the chair of that committee, attend your branch meetings. Go to the business meetings, meet the people from the board, and talk to them. See how you can be involved.
Thank you, Cesar. I really appreciate your answering the question. So our next person to talk today is Melissa Sibbert. Melissa, can you please talk a little bit about what you do and how you volunteer at
Sure. Well, I've been a ESA member since 1999, and kind of like Cesar, it was I was inspired to lead and volunteer because I was seeing other people do it, whether it's my major professor, committee members, other more experienced graduate students. And just like you, Patricia, I got involved in student affairs committee at the branch level, and that's where I started. Involved in organizing symposias, entomology games, things like that. And when it starts from there, you have so many more things happen. You get confidence, and more opportunities come about. And then when I became a professional with Corteva, continued my service at the branch level, awards committee, member at large. And then it was in 2010 that I became really active at the section level. So starting at section secretary, the whole, as Peter described it, the 4-year presidential line of roles. Now currently serving as the PI representative to the governing board, and then some other roles as well, publication counsel, subject editor, and currently also, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, on the leadership development committee, which really links well to this webinar. That is a newer committee, year 2 of being instituted, but really charged with developing tactics and programs that get more people in leadership. So, there's a lot of misconceptions that you need big, long resumes of experience and you need to have done lots of things. And ultimately, that's really not the case. We need people that are passionate about society and, just ready to dig in and devote time and attention. So I work for Corteva, and I'm really passionate myself professionally about the solution development side of pest management and bringing solutions to growers. And that's something that excites me. So I've had different experiences working on that solution development side, whether it's making discoveries or even more importantly, collaborate with so many people in academia or USDA to help bring those solutions to growers. And so that's too where ESA roles and activities are really important for me. So it's those collaborations through ESA, working on those committees side by side with so many thought leaders that have actually helped in this solution development side. So a lot of linkages between the two. And again, from a professional standpoint, this is, I work for Corteva on the solution development side, but I can tell you I'm a much more well-rounded entomologist because of all the connections I have at ESA, a much more broader view, broader thinking, just a much more complete entomologist because of all the connections and ways I've been able to open my mind to things outside of just the one area that I work every day. And similar to everybody else, I do enjoy some other stress-free type activities or outside activities like golf, painting, just kind of monotonous painting. I enjoy doing things like that, and water sports.
Thank you, Melissa. I would like to ask a question, and also probably Peter can help as well. So how best to get support from your employer to serving on a committee, ESA or?
Yes. Well, I can start and I'll give an answer, and then we'll see what Peter has to say as well. So, I think one of the important things, well, first of all, just speaking for Corteva, they are very enthusiastic about employees, volunteering, whether it's in ESA, other scientific societies, things like that. So I'm very fortunate to very easily do this, even in my work week, and to help volunteer. But just thinking about other sectors, if I was having to talk to my employer about, hey, I want to volunteer for ESA, what would I think about? Well, I think what I would try to instill is how the time I would spend with ESA would actually help the company as well, help them see what those benefits are. So, some of the things that I talked about that I benefit from are the networking, the personal growth, the development. Those are the things I would mention. Leading committees. I'm leading a committee right now. I mean, that's, again, more practice that I can transfer to my own job where, I have so many different projects and bringing people together and getting to conclusions, and, you're given an objective or a charge and then bringing it to completion. So again, so many opportunities to develop your leadership skills, grow your technical knowledge. And one other thing is, whether it's industry or academia, USDA, it's an opportunity to build your reputation for that organization. All of these organizations and sectors hire individuals, and certainly a place like ESA is where you're going to find the best and brightest talent if you're looking for an entomologist in this space. And using the platform to make those connections and to be able to bring new talent into your organization as well. And if we're not engaging in the society, it's going to be real hard to do that. So a couple different things from my side. Peter, what about you?
Melissa, you did a fantastic job. I think all I can do is add a little bit of color. I would say all of those are the same reasons. Bayer's an enthusiastic supporter of the ESA. But yeah, I'm always, as I mentioned earlier, I think about the why and then taking the steps. And that why is thinking about what personal development is there, but also what value to to the company as well. So, you know, understanding how a program for a national meeting gets put together helps understand how we can be involved and what are the right entry points. Serving on an awards and honors committee helps me to see some of the best and brightest in the society and, you know, bring them to my attention. It's like getting spoon-fed, you know, connections and the opportunity for relationships. But it's always making that case, you know, with my manager or even above, you know, why does this make sense? And that's why it's got to be a central part of my thinking and my activities.
Thank you, Melissa and Peter. So we have now another poll question. So what do you see as barriers to volunteering? You can select more than one option. If you have all, you have to select them all. I'll give you more or less a minute for y'all to submit your answers. Did everyone enter? How do we have this going? A few more seconds. Okay. Well, 100% of the people is, I don't know how to begin. The second highest is, I don't know anyone, but would, if someone reached out to me. I do not have enough time. I think these are so, I would have the same questions and the same problems about how to get volunteering. And then just talking really quick about my experience, I started volunteer because my advisor, she didn't, it was not an obligation, but basic it was. So I tried to find ways that I could be involved, and that helped a lot. I reached out to some friends on the Students Affairs Committee. Hey, how can I do this? Can I be part of the group? And everything started from there. Okay, does the other panelists want to say something about not having enough time or don't know what to do or where to start?
Just a quick addition in terms of where to begin. I started just judging posters or talks, right? It's so easy. We need so many volunteers. It's such an easy way to just sign up to judge. And once you've got a feeling for that and you meet some people or you get a little bit involved, it's so much easier to build on those connections and to add new experiences.
Yeah, and to add on, I might recommend go to the ESA website if you're affiliated with a branch or a section. Just the member contacts are there. Reach out to those member section and branch leadership, and ask, hey, what committee positions will be open this cycle? So every year there's different committees that have individuals that are rotating on and off, and so don't be bashful to send an email. And then anybody else that's currently volunteering, just ask them. You've got to probably know somebody who may be engaged. So ask them for help, and you're welcome to reach out to me. So you know me now. Just reach out to somebody, and that somebody may be able to help kind of figure out maybe where your passion is and maybe where you could fit in and find a space for you, and then help you reach out to that person that could help make that connection.
Go to the business meetings. The business meetings feature reports of the committees and will also highlight what positions are open. And usually the business meetings are not attended by everyone that attends the regular meeting. So you already set yourself apart by being present and looking for opportunities there. Volunteering is a situation where no is seldom an answer. So if you've got willingness to participate, people will actively seek ways to help you participate, because we need more help, and everyone needs more help. So volunteers are amazing and they are the future. And if you're interested, that's my recommendations. Go to the business meeting and let people know that you're interested, or at least are finding out more about it.
And I just to add, I started at the branch level. Like I started volunteering at the branch level. So it's a smaller group. It's easier to meet people at that level, and also to get to know people, and also for people to get to know you. So that's where I started.
I'll just talking a little bit about my experience. I think because I'm an international student, I have an accent. I don't write well in English, but I think I can understand. People can understand what I'm saying. And a lot of time, international students have a problem with that. They feel like because they have an accent, they cannot be a leader somewhere. Well, I'm the chair of the Students Affairs Committee. And everyone's going to help you. And remember that our discipline is really diverse. There's people from everywhere. So people have accents. People are used to listen to accents. People make the effort to understand you. And I was really fortunate that everyone that I always contacted was able to help. And again, just like everyone said, if we're volunteering, we're more than happy to help people to volunteer as well, because we know how important it is to the society to have a really diverse group. And we always need people coming in. There's always more activities. There's always more committees going on. We always need a lot of judges. There's always things going on. So just my personal connection to international students, don't worry if you think your English is not perfect, because that was a problem for me. I thought, okay, I cannot be anywhere because, oh my God, what are we going to do? No, don't worry. That's not a problem. And then again, I'm more than happy to talk with any of you that want to contact me. I will be happy to share my experience and help you in the way that I can to put you in the right direction. Okay, so we have any questions? So we know that Melissa and Cesar are being members of the SA for a long time. I've been only for 5 years. How about you, Peter and Wyatt? How long have you been ESA member?
Go ahead, Wyatt.
25 years.
Congratulations. I think I'm getting close. I believe I joined in 99, but I'm not. It may have been 2000. So I'm getting up there, up around 20 as well.
And how long it took for you from starting to be a member of ESA and that you actually start volunteering with anything, even being a judge or any other activity?
For me, I was a shy graduate student, and I did not volunteer as a PhD student. I did a lot of research that was not applied, and I felt like I don't really fit in very well in the North Central branch. But I did teaching, and then I got my position at University of Nebraska at Kearney, and that's where I started volunteering with Linnean games, entomological trivia games, and student competitions and things like that. So I missed out some opportunities that you've taken advantage of, and kudos to your advisor for encouraging your participation. Now that I mentor students, I also encourage them to participate, because it's so important for networking and for understanding how the society works and for giving back to the society. But I was kind of late to the game.
I'm the same as Wyatt. I was a shy graduate student, and it wasn't until I was out of school that I started volunteering, and that's part of the drive for me as well. I think almost all of the opportunities that I've had in my career have come from networking either at the meeting or around the meetings. And so to do my part and give back, I tried to ramp up my volunteering as well.
And I would like to ask you all also, let's say, I can say about the Students Affair Committee as just a member of the Students Affair Committee, I would say I spent maybe 1 hour per week, not even. It really depended on the month. As the chair, it takes a little bit more work, but it's nothing crazy. So I would say, and then close to ESA, it was a lot of work. But then again, we have a really big group to share the responsibilities, so it's not impossible. How do you think that someone is afraid of the time commitment? Like, I don't know how much time I have available. Where do you think they should start? Like, what is a good committee to start to have the feeling? Or would it be just participating in meetings and see what happened from there?
Well,
Certainly, we mentioned a couple things, like judging posters or contests, or, students, while they're not allowed to do those, they can moderate sessions during the meet. So certainly, if you're looking for just a small one part of the year, capturing something at the ESA meeting would be one option if you're trying to get in but not have a full year commitment, perhaps. But I mean, certainly there's other committees, so many other committees where it just may be like that, 30 minutes a week of emails, or 1 hour meeting a month, or an awards committee where there is that surge where you may have to judge packets, but it's kind of confined to potentially one time of the year. So, I think starting at those are probably the best things, and then moving into a governing council or section sort of, or branch sort of leadership. There probably is a progression that some roles will take a little bit more time. I mean, we should be honest, some things will take more time, but if you start small, I think everybody notices this with their real job. With time, you get better at what you do. And so, you're able to make quicker. You don't have to think about things maybe quite so much. You're a little bit faster to do things and make decisions. You're more decisive as you mature versus earlier in your career. So, as you're growing personally, that's maybe that time you're ready for those larger leadership type opportunities, whether it's section or branch, things like that.
I think, the whole COVID has shown whether you're flexible or not, right? So you've had to deal with things that you were never trained to do. And that's a little bit like committee service. You're going to be into elements that you're not familiar or comfortable with, but as long as you do the best you can and ask for advice, seems like it works out. And so the time commitment, if you're on a committee where you're doing something that's familiar, it's going to take less work. If it's all brand new, it's like learning something new, and it'll take more, but you also have the opportunity to grow more from that experience.
The one thing that I have done with the students that I think having the students like for your advisor, you can ask your advisor if there's anything, if your advisor is involved with the branch or the national meeting, like you can ask your advisor, whether you can assist on any, volunteer for any of the events. For example, when I tell my students when I was a president, just to help at the registration desk, or help with the posters, or anything that you can do. I mean, especially like as I said, maybe start at the branch level. That is, it's a smaller group, but there's always something that they have the need for volunteers.
I'll just add to, when you're thinking about your why, to remember that any of this is an investment in the society, but in yourself, right? These relationships that you're making or starting, and the network that you start to develop will open doors. How can you not make time in the interest of your career or whatever to invest that tiny amount of time? It is so beneficial. It really is an investment.
I agree. Well, we're running out of time. I would like to thank Melissa, Wyatt, Cesar, and Peter for being here today. Thanks, CSA, for organizing this session. I think we all learned a lot. I personally asked questions that I was interested, because even though that I'm volunteering, I still have a lot of questions. So thank you so much. Thanks for everyone watching the session. Really appreciate you all being here today. And see you probably next week then. Bye-bye.